So good morning to all. And today we've got another webinar. We've got here the contribution of Yesid Resink, is VP from World Skills America. And is also chair of the technical committee of World Skills America. It's a professional that has got a great history, is building a process uh, in organizing all the strategies of national competitions in Colombia, and also he's participated in the global competition for World Skills International. And also he has organized all the competitions also of World Skills America, and he's today coming to contribute, sharing his experience for the benefits, for the training competitions, for the whole process of educations, whether in Colombia, in the Americas, in the whole world skills as well. So, Professor Yesid, thank you for the opportunity of sharing your experiences. That will be absolutely enriching for all of us to actually use your success experiences to improve our competitions and our professional educations. With you now, Professor Yesid. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Spada. Good morning to all. It's a great pleasure for me to be here, share with you this webinar. And our intention here is actually to show you or showcase all the benefits you can gab, not only for the education entities and natural people, company and countries, as a result of these skills competitions. So we, as Professor Spada mentioned, here from World Skills America, we've been building a very strong organization with many member countries. As you can see in the map, you've got my background. And as a product of the different competition activities on a regular basis, all countries benefit from that, improving their professional education process. So I'm going to address today a little bit about those benefits. What are the benefits you obtain when you are a member of World Skills America or World Skills International, and how these can be used from the entities, education entities, from the countries or the participants, in order to strengthen your professionals' profile. So, World Skills Americas, basically, it has got the different member countries you can see in the map here. So we would like to welcome all of them. We expect that this space be a very productive and enriching space for that are here today from your different countries. So the idea is that we are going to have this interaction space, and I am going to give you an hour presentation, and at the end of this moment I expect a little time in order to have a Q&A, any questions you might have. So if you've got any question during my presentation, please note them down, so that when I finish, then we can continue to answer such questions that could arise. So it's very important to mention as well that we we are having a translation that you can actually choose through interpretation button in order to choose English if you want to, if your mother language is English. Okay, so as mentioned by Professor Spada, I am Yesid Rusik. I'm the delegate of SENA, and I'm the four-person for World Skills America. And I have the fortune of having these roles since 2011. As part of my role, I've got the possibility of participating in many different processes of international competitions and also organize and leading the international competition processes we promote in Colombia. Here from SENA in Colombia, we are ready to collaborate with all of you and working in a collaborative way. I'm going to give you then, it is possible that we can work in a jointly manner in order to improve these conditions in our countries. And I make myself available in order to exchange experiences or work in the best form that suits you best. This is my email here. So it's yrosinke@senate.edu.co, and there I am to answer any further question you might have. So this is my agenda. I've got four main bullet points to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about the World Skills Virtuous Circle. Then we're going to have a space in order to check what are the benefits of participating in these kind of initiatives for three different types of actors. First, for the entities or education entities, for the productive sector, for the countries and participants themselves. So let us get with our World Skills Virtual Circle. So, as you can see here, the fact of being an organization that has a regular competition enables you to have a cycle figure in which first we are in an activity of a competition, and thanks to World Skills America, World Skills International, I have the opportunity to measure myself and benchmark myself with other entities and understand where can we improve and understand my strong holds or my strong points, what I can also collaborate with others. So this is a wonderful environment to create a benchmark and being identifies weaknesses or areas of opportunities and strengths. And that is something that improves the skills, and you create a wonderful contact networks where you can actually leverage the professional profile of each person. If I know what are the entities of training for leaders of the world, then I will be able to use those networks to leverage my professional profile. When you are in an international competence, it's a wonderful moment to understand the best practices worldwide. And in order to identify the cutting edge technologies that are there in the world generating, and that helps us to generate documents and feedback initiatives, as you can see here in the bottom of my circle, of my virtual circle, that enable us to have this feedback process where you can analyze where were the gaps that you could have found, understanding all your capacities when compared with the skills of other countries that were the best. And that enables you to have a SWOT analysis to identify the opportunities, weaknesses, strengths, and build improvement plans. So, or for improvement journeys that you then put to work in your institution, in your country, in order to improve all these little aspects that you can see on the left hand side of the slide. So you can then you can improve your education programs, your training in workshops or issues very important, as for example, the soft skills, something that we are going to address a little bit in a little while. The thing is, we are going to participate, for example, in this competition. We come to this feedback process. You implement some improvement journeys so that in the next cycle, you can already be in a better position where the quality of your skills is being improved. You are more accurate, you are more efficient, and will enable you to have a better position, and you will have a better ranking in the competition. And this needs to be on a cycle basis. So the cycle, that's why I call it the virtuous cycle, because every time that we are in a competition space, we can find what are the spaces, what are the gaps you need to breach in order to take the necessary measures and improve for the next cycle. And these, you are in this gives you these a continuous improvement process for your professional educational processes. So now we're going to talk about the benefits and the impacts that we've got for now we're going to talk about for the education entities. And first, when a training institution or education institution is part of World Skills America or World Skills International, they have access to the whole bulk of documents that is being updated every 2 years. And in our countries, I'm going to tell you my Colombian experience. It is very important that our training programs be updated and a source in order to understand whether you are having the capacity is identify actually all these documentation, mainly what you are seeing in these documentation and the master documents that we've got in Workers International. And for each skill, I can identify all the relevant aspects of that skill. What are the skills that the participant need to have? What are the features, criteria of each project? What are the weights of each skill? But this skill, what I wanted to show you, I want to tell you that this technical description that you will have access, or you are having access for being part of these organizations, are updated every 2 years and enable me to compare it or benchmark against my progress to understand whether they are accurate, quality, they are updated, or I need to make some little movement so that my entity actually it's providing those professionals that the private sector is needed, that we are not obsolete. This is a wonderful source of information that are updated every 2 years in order to compare them with our training programs and bridge any gap necessary. And it's important that in this slide, you see they're talking about of every single skill. And that's a very wonderful source of information. And regardless of one country actually participates only in 3 or 4 skills, if you can have access to 62 skills, we are going to have access to all the documents encompasses all the skills, not only those you're competing against. So it's a wonderful source of information for your follow-up, for your training programs. And those documents are absolutely open, and it doesn't matter if my programs are for which kind of skills or goals or for my qualification. That doesn't matter. These technical descriptions enable me to compare my program, and depending on your model, you can pick up this decision. For example, create a new training programs. We did that in Colombia because I understood that they were necessary for my institutions, or update some programs, or even eliminate some programs that are already obsolete. And there's something that we call the World Scales Occupational Standards that you can see. Let's say the WS that are the main, this WSOS, that is the feature for each occupation. For each skill, you've got a certain occupation with a certain standard that tells us. So the person will know how to do this and that, have that skills, comply with these requirements, and need to develop these skills. So these occupational standards that we've been working with World Skills International, or the International Labour Institution, or from ILO, in order to strengthen our professions and see whether we are being precise in our training and education programs. So I would like then to stop a little bit to show you an example of one of those documents. So can you see my PDF? I suppose, yes, that I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, yes, we can see. Oh, thank you then. So this is an example of the technical descriptions that we have as part of World Skills. A document like that. Um, this is like we call this is visual merchandising. You can compare these our training programs and how to showcase in a window, for example. What can you find in this document? uh, you can find issues as the name of the skill, what are the roles or all the professions linked to that capacity. It is very important in order to know what areas of knowledge people can participate on the skills, how many competitive we've got 14, what are the limits or competitive, what are the associated documents that we've got for that skill. There's some notes of WSOS of the occupational standard so that you can understand where they come from and how they can apply to you in order to match them with your training process. And here you've got the occupational standards of work skills. So we've got some occupational standards and their relative weights. So that skill, for a total of 100 points, how important is that the competitor knows being a work organization, and that's got 10 points. And here you've got all the description on how to translate, or how do you how these should be within their training programs, and the competitors should have good communication and interpersonal skills, 45%, and very important also problem solvers, innovation and creativity, 15%. We are part the interpret and make researchers, 10%, the design, 10%, implementation, 40%, so forth, adding at the end 100%. So That has to do with this occupational strategy. You can imagine make it an exercise with the documents that actually guide the profession. How are we doing with all the students that we are forming? How do we are we designing our training processes? In this document, you will also find how we are going to make the assessments, how to generate the teams or the evaluation formats, the different aspect that needs to be rated, and how we are going to make the assessment, because every scale has a different specificities on how to do. It's not the same to assess a soft or a hard skills. For so we've got information on, we can define the test projects, how to design them, um, how to select them, and also some important notes on how to make the how you should behave in the discussion forum. This is a document, as mentioned, this is a master document for this subject matter. What are the list of materials needed for the development of the activity? What have the toolkit? What are the model plans in order to have that skill? And if you see in detail these documents, bring in very important documents that could be compared with the documents that you use in your countries, that will give you some idea on where to update, what could be obsolete, or what you could add that's not existent today. So as this document that I showed you, that is a 29 pages document, you will have to have access to all the documents, to all skills that we've got in the competitions, whether in World Skills Americas or World Skills International. So, continuing then in our presentation, another source of information, the technical description enable you to make a double check and validation of my programs education. I've got other documents that are the test documents used, and the assessment formats forms. If you add both things, you are going to see and understand how you are when compared to your own projects. When you create a project, a training or education project, you put some task for the students to develop, and then could be enriched with these two sources of information that we are using with these assessment formats and the information. Why? Because these test projects and these scoring scheme or formats are very well aligned with the last trends of the market, and then you can help these people see how to develop the CVs and the tasks that you put for your students in order to ensure that they are compliant or in line with the last trends in the world, in the market. So we've got the infrastructure list. It's a list of all the machinery, tools that you might need for search and skill. That infrastructure list is something very important to understand how updated are your training environments. And now I'm going to give you an example of that. So when you see what kind of teams and pieces of equipment and tools that you're using, you can understand whether your equipment and tools you've got in your institution are updated or not, or need to be improved, or maybe they need to pass through some kind of maintenance. And then we've got the layouts you should could have. What I invite you, so with an eye on your interest areas, because you can actually check what is my environment in your entities, I am in infrastructures, and my position regard the compared with the plans that we've got for the competition. And that can actually give you important, very good contribution to generate improvement or modernization plans, what tools to buy, so that everything is quite absolutely suitable for the purpose. Another additional document that we've got that is not so visible, that's very important. We have access to the last international standards on ESG for each activity, and that enables you to actually to make an update of your update what you update in your local environment. For example, if you are going to create a new activity, we are in Colombia, where, for example, implemented the skill of Industry 4.0, to understand what are health, safety, and environment conditions I should implement that are relevant for that information and need to be implemented. That's a part of documentation that I make available, that all the member entities, when you go to the website of the organization Americas, could have access to all these documents of the international organization, and could have access to all these documents that update every 2 years and are available for all the skills that we've got in the activity. Not only in this, that's a very important contribution to maintain updated your materials, your environment, and the human talent that you are training is suitable, fit per purpose for the market. Another important exercise that are important, we've got the results of competition. Every time there's a competition, there's a set of documents that are the result that enable me to identify how I am when benchmarking against other countries or competitors. So in this presentation, I want to show you 4 different kinds of documents that we have as a feedback every time we participate of a competition, in order to identify how to benefit the best. One of the documents is this issue of the results of the competition. Um, so we've got a document called the summary of results, where we've got the different subject matters that are having our study. What are the scores obtained for part of my competitor, and what are the best results that could be obtained? I am not really he what I want to say is, at the left, you can see in this for every one of the standards, what are the scores that should be obtained and how much is a competitor obtained within a scale of 100 points. Well, it also shows within a scale of 700 the position of my competitor. My competitor had a 703 in the scale, and it was the number 8 and had the Medal of Excellence. And so here, for each one of the standards, how is my competitor when compared to the others? In one of the occupational standard, he had a wonderful, he was above the average, and what they were below the average. It's important to understand what we need to improve in our competitor for the future, but also to understand and understand what is missing in that competitor or in your educational program. So this document is a very valuable document that by entity can enable me to identify all these little things. Another thing is the detailed result of the competition by competitor. The other one was for standard, the total of he had here is another document that's also been delivered for each country after the participation. In this document, you can see aspect by aspect assessing the competitor if my competitor obtained or did not obtain the points that if you need to have a certain task, if he was clean the area of work, did he do it or not? If he needed to generate certain lines of code or to generate a certain function, was he able to do it or not? This is within the scale of 100, which actually all the 100 points, we split it in different aspects to be assessed and gives me exactly the detail of what he was very good and what he failed, and that enabled me in order to improve the training for the future. This document is a very good contribution for every institution that when after coming back, then we can make an feedback and plan for the next competition cycle. Moreover, and besides the other two, we also the organization gives us this document that's the results per skill within the scale of 700 points that tells us what's the position of my competitor with the whole total scoring when compared to other competitors, and it tells me who had the golden medal, bronze, silver, excellence medal. With that, I can identify what are the countries or educational institutions that are leaders for each as a skill. For example, so we can, Japan here was golden medal. With that, I can, through my network, as being part of the organization, understand how can we actually make some exchanges where I can learn from them because they are the best if for me to strengthen my processes of education for my next educations in order to take decisions also to assure that my training programs are suitable for purpose. And then we've got now these results that it's not by skill but per country, and who are the best countries in the world, first, second, third, fourth. And here we score every single country. So here what we've got is that depending on the total country, they've got different kind of reports that are going to mention what this is and how are we ranked. And this is a document of the competitions last year. Colombia was in position number 20. I think that can give you very good understanding of making analysis word in order to see how can you improve your educational process or training processes. Mm, because the goal of WorldSkills Americas and WorldSkills International is generate contributions and spaces that will enable you to improve your processes in your countries. So this document is very important to understanding which is where you are ranked with it as compared to other countries, and how can you and see who you could ally or partner with in order to improve your process. Also very important for all the members entities is that you can use the SIS. The SIS is an information system that was developed by WorldSkills that generates all the reports that I showed you. So when you members of these organizations, you can download and use the CIS as part of your competition. And not only national competition, but also the regionals. When you download the CIS as part of this competition, it's possible that you within your national competition, you can deliver to all the regional competitions or the different within your countries, like that your provinces or states, you can deliver them these kind of reports so that each region city can also improve their training processes. This is another benefit you will have for all the entities having access to these tools. Every time you update, you can download it and use it in your own country or region competitions and generate all the reports as a feedback, and that enable you to improve your uh, training processes. And as part of the participation in the competitions, the experience of participating in the competition generates lots of food for thought that enable you to have good lines of work in each of these subject matters. You can identify breaches in technologies or knowledge or best practices, partnerships, or soft skills. When you identify these gaps, what you understand where you are failing, you've got a gap, then you can improve. And I am going to explain what is each one of those. This is one of the examples that I wanted to try in order to share with you. Here, well, for example, the breaches that we were able to breach the gaps in organic technology thanks to the participation in the competitions of skills. These four machines or pieces, devices that there were pieces of machines that we didn't have before participating in a competition of skill. So if for these, for rules, we didn't have these diamond saw machine that's very good so that you can do a work with a faster way, best quality, and more creativity, because then you can have these curved cuts and not round cuts as we were doing until that time. So we were one time into 2011 in order to revert in rules. We saw that so machines and we understood how more productive we could be for these professionals, and we brought those machines, we implemented that, and we've got them in the whole country. A very similar thing happens with the four axles lathe. Uh, we had only one of the two axes, and as a consequence of this, the person that we were delivering for the mechanic industry didn't have the skills in how to handle these kind of for axle laths, and they were not competitive in order to think that the product, Colombian products, could reach international market. Another example, we have the fiber fusion, the piece. We didn't have that prior, that before participating in the world competitions, and we saw the need of it, important and how important they were for in order to for telecommunications cabling. And so we brought them, we adapt them, and we've got them in the whole country. The last example. I could have thousands of examples, but I wanted to these that were very significant for us. The 3D scanners. So in this skill with it's because of we participated in the competition, we saw these devices that enable other countries to do the same task we did it, but with better quality, more efficient, faster. So we brought those pieces of equipment to our country. We implemented an educational programs for that, and that's why we started to grow in the positions that we had. So, but our main intention is not to have a gold medal. No, it's that these enable you to provide more fit for purpose trainings regarding knowledge. Every time that we've got a competition, we identify gaps, knowledge gaps that enable us to improve. So we understand that there are technologies that are showing up that maybe our teachers in our institution do not have those knowledge, and that, thanks to that, we implemented uh, so that our instructors, once acquires those skills, can help our future professionals. And these processes, they're not only for the instructor that goes to international competition, but it's also for all the instructors in the whole country, so that we are impacting the education in all the departments or all the provinces or regions in Colombia. Best practices. Every time you go to an international competition or continental one, you find wonderful best practices that are good, will help you to improve the quality of your processes and things that we didn't know here in Colombia. And thanks to our best practices, we brought this and we implemented it, and we have been improving. So these are some of the examples we've seen. I could mention much more. We've got much more in Colombia. I wanted to bring those forward. In the international companies, we have found the belts in order to hold tools, as you can see the first images. Thanks to these kind of belts, where the competitors could actually feed all the tools necessary for a certain task, they make faster processes and better quality without needing to go forward and backwards to some place. For with us, with those belts, they can actually they can create. They know that they need to have a screwdrivers where they know which part of the belt is. So they use it, they put it back again, and everything is there is more effective. It's done with more quality and faster. This is a good practice that we didn't have here. We didn't know prior to the competitions, and now we have that now in our formation process. Another good practice that you can see there, the the workers or professionals there, they needed safety goggles. We had this goggle, and then we put these two, and that was very uncomfortable because normal. So we see in the World Congress the possibility of creating safety goggles that already had the medical for medical conditions in order for their couple of eyeglasses. So, and that enabled the person, it was less uncomfortable, better, more comfortable, better efficiency and quality, and less time. So that's a very good practice that we saw international companies we were using. On the right, you can see in building civil engineering, we've got a special pair of trousers with have some reinforcers that enable so that the task that they need to do, these competitors that are very demanding on the physical, they can do it in a more comfortable with those pair of trousers. They get less tasks, and in that they could be more productive and more effective in the work. This image that you are seeing there, the guys are having other kind of tool belts and a laser leveler. That's a machine that we didn't have in Colombia until we started to use we saw it in international competition, and that that's enabled us to more precise works for gardening. And here you can see a flexible ruler that you can have. This is a product that's for fashions, but it's very important the issue of the measures, not only that the buttons are actually in a very specific distances. It's very difficult with hard rule take these kind of measures. So we found in Korea one of the changes with these flexible rulers that enable that you can mold on the piece of cloth you're going working on. You can see the best practice. They don't need to be something very technologically expensive, not quantum physics. No, so sometimes could be very simple. Something a ruler that's flexible and not hard that enables you to do a better quality works. And we saw it in the competitions. And thanks to that, we have brought those practices to our processes, and the lads we are training today are better trained today. Regarding partnerships, we've got the possibility to reach many different partnerships because of the networks you see. You can see all the whole scope of partners, of sponsors that we've got from World Skills worldwide. Every entity can, thanks to these partnerships we've got, can actually go to this and find the way of creating some kind of partnerships. And we've got partnerships with many of Amazon Web Service, many others. Thanks to these partnerships, to the say that we've got in the what we know we can have you can have all these countries in order to arrive to the representatives of these companies in Colombia so that we can link to them. That will enable us to improve our training process, as not only with these sponsors we can have partners with other members of all skills. You can see here, for example, just a sample of the different partners. From our, we have partners with WorldSkills Chile, gifts that say is in Korea, from where we had lots of knowledge transfer, were gifts paid even, so that our trainers could go to Korea, train to a couple of weeks, and then came back to Colombia. We've got some partnerships with WorldSkills France, Senai in Brazil. You can see the Taiwan entity that represents Taiwan entity, Ina from Costa Rica, people from Guatemala, from El Salvador, WorldSkills China, and it's missing there. Jamaica, I don't know why it's not there. We've got a very good partnership with Jamaica for knowledge transfer and WorldSkills Morale. And so the good of these entities, each of the members is very open in order to create jointly. Actually, from Colombia, we're using that. So, so if you think that we can actually articulate to strengthen our formation process, you can do it. You can send me any content. We can actually to explore alternatives. So not only it's about or trainings, or it could be simple things as the participations in just in some conversations or seminars that I was, or webinars. Or could also be the participations in other competitions. There was a competition that was called the skills camping that we were talking with Ina and informed with the Dominican Republic. I don't know why it's not the logo here, but the union makes us stronger. So through these contact networks, when you are part of an organization as World Skills America or World Skills International, you can then continue to develop bilateral actions that will enable us what we want to improve the training process and deliver people that really fit for purpose. This is a sample of what we've done from World Skills Colombia, and each of the member countries has also many other examples of partners with who you can actually partner in order to improve. Regarding soft skills, it's very important to mention, I want to bring this here, because we saw that in Colombia, mainly and thanks to the feedback that we've had from the practice sector, we saw that many of the students that we prepared in our could be very good technically, but they have some weaknesses in some soft skills, as once you can actually see here in my slide. So they've got problems of discipline, self-esteem. When we were competing against people from other countries, then the self-esteem actually dropped down, and they didn't not go in a good work. They could have problems in problem solving, other in time management, there's of assertive communication and punctuality. The important things of these skills is that all these skills that you can see in these slides, all these are developed naturally when you participate in the process. You can improve all these soft skills. Discipline will not. You cannot develop it through sitting someone in a classroom to tell them in a blackboard the discipline you need to do this or that, or self confidence, or they will not. Soft skills you develop, you don't teach it, but when you participate in a competition, these skills then start to soar up. Because of participating in these competition processes, you need to have discipline in order to achieve the discipline. When you participate participate then with people that are from other countries, improve my self confidence. We need to manage time. So all these soft skills can actually leverage a lot thanks of taking part in these spaces. So benefit from these spaces so that everything of these soft skills can actually be developed. Something very important that I want to highlight. When we go to a World Skills America competition, we learn and we bring back feedback for the country in order to improve in our country and impact in our country. But in the same way, when I make a World Skills Colombia, every single region of Colombia, that's like a state in the United States, we call it departments in Colombia. Each one of those, when we come to the national competition, they also draw all this information and feedback to improve their programs in their region. It's not only that when I go I attend continental competition, then I improve my training in Bogota, Medellin, the biggest cities, urban cities in Colombia. When we do a national, a country competition, every region from the country comes back with all the reports of skills, with the Colombia technical descriptions, with the assessment forms, with all that, then that is given back to their cities in order to implement improvement plans that enable you to improve the quality of education in the country. So it's very important to take that into account. It's not only the participation in the international competitions, or because when you do a country competition or regional competition within the country or that region, you generate exactly the same positive impact that will enable you to improve the educational processes in that region or country. This is something that I wanted to share with you. A couple of years ago, when we started in the skills competition, this is a Colombian map. Every little piece of color there of departments, as we call it, that are our provinces or states, each one of those is one a department. We've got 33 departments, the Colombian provinces. And we started the competition, in our competition nationals, we had 3 or 4 of states only that had won the golden medals. That was 2009, 11. 3 or 4 of these provinces gained the medal, and we saw uh, silver or bronze improved to 8 or 10 maybe. So these, what you can see here now, from our national companies of the last cycle, you can see here now that the different regions, different provinces that are gaining gold medals are much more, not anymore the 3 or 4 we had at the beginning. Why? Because of all the benefits we were talking about, how we actually have been improving our formation. And we see gold, silver, bronze at the right. You can see then even provinces that are very far away provinces have had gold, silver, and bronze. And so we understand that the quality of the training is not only improving as an institution, but it's improving the whole country. And that's a very good benefit to develop your national skills. I want to share two best practices that we've got in Colombia, and I think that you can implement in your countries if you find it worth. And if you want more information on that, it will be our pleasure to share it with that. One is something that we call it territorial empowerment activities that we've got at the left of the slides. So one of these activities is a competition. It's not an official competition. It's a most a teaching pedagogic competition that we do among some selected regions. For example, you can see here the different departments that are part of the sectors of the plains in Colombia that have 5 different provinces, and we make a very small competition with just a couple of skills that are the best for those kinds of provinces, 5 or 6 skills, and doing these skills among themselves that we enable them to strengthen more their internal training process. We give them an excellence environment. We give them some updates in tools and pieces and devices. Also, we enable acquire more trust in order to participate in the national competitions and to those kids. And then from those small ones, we've got 3 kinds. One is from the plains in the map you can see there. Another one is what we call the jungle one. This is in the departments that are more towards the Amazon region, and the one they call the Caribbean department, or some of the provinces that are the small cities on the seashore, the Caribbean seashore. So when we do this regional empowerment, we don't go to the big cities. We go to these small cities in regarding that are also so like sometimes are more shy in order to participate in the national competitions. Some of these regions with very small cities at the beginning didn't want to participate in the country competition because they thought they were going to lose their time, they were not going to be able represent well their city. So we invite with these competitions, we attract them then to participate in the country competitions. And as a result of these empowering competitions, you see the map. We've got lots of these provinces that have already gold medals, silver, bronze, of course. So these events, these are useful, these smaller events, not so that not only the big cities get into these competitions, but also that the smaller cities or the region with less populations can also benefit participate in the competition of skill competition and strengthen their training process. It does make that people from these regions should be of less quality of somewhere from the cities above 2 million inhabitants. It doesn't make sense. If they're students from Sena, all of them should have the same quality. And with these activities, we were able to improve the quality and improve the quality or the medals obtained in all the provinces. That's why you can see this map with more participation, with bigger number of departments actually highlighted with their colors. We continue to do these tasks. The idea is that in the future, this map, I expect, be much more powerful with more provinces. So I wanted to show you that when we came back from the world competition, we gathered with the experts, the participants of each scale, we create a impact document that we deliver to the institution. So you can see here this document for last year at our right that we will participate in this special edition, that we participate in 17 skills with a document with 573 pages of uh, let me share it with you. This is document that you can see where you can actually, per skills, you're going to find a certain instructions for the skills that we participated. We say how was being the evolution of the skills. For example, in this case, in competition, we were in number 20 between 54. We've been improved because we participate for the first time in Canada in 2009. We were in place number 39. And for them, we've got a similar analysis. What was evolution? What were our only? What was our ranking? And the specific feedback that we say for that skill. You can see the part of technology here and infrastructure. We can see we started to buy the equipment. His communication is a little bit, internet is in red now. Just a minute, please. So what we understood were the devices were not updated, what were the regions we could impact, what were the programs that could be with everything that we've learned in the competition, and also other aspects, some issues as machinery, consumables for that activity. This document has a part 2 for each activity. That is other of the focus that I showed you that we were highlight. We could say where we need to train our structure in the technical aspect, knowledge, with soft skills, and has a third important part that has to do with the training programs and the norms of labor norms. So what is particular Senate works per norms, what we need to update, what we need to improve. What do you see? We have it for each one for the 7 skills, the 17 skills. Here you can see development of mobile apps. It's a document that is a very robust document with almost 600 pages. But when we deliver to each one of the areas of the SENA, the training programs, training of the instructors, modernization environment, SENA then has the possibility to implement improvement plans. This best practice that I'm going to share with you, this document, we have no problem in to share it with all of you. Has already been shared is that with the World Skills America Secretariat, and we'll ask Merino and Gustavo please, after this presentation, please not only to share my presentation with the different countries, member countries, we can also send this document so that you can have as a server. Maybe you can use it in order to improve your own training processes. So the idea would be able to share you their presentation, the recording of this webinar, and this document, as I mentioned, has been very important for SENA. of the competitions, everything that we've learned, we place it in this document and we deliver it to the institution. I would love to make it available for all the members of WorldSkills America. So, for the productive sectors and the countries. So, for the productive sectors that we've seen, we can find when you participate in these competitions, what are is cutting edge technology. You've seen the examples that are the optic fusion, the laser, the diamond saw. Thanks to all those competitions, we implemented the productive sectors that actually use our practitioners benefit from that because they say, okay, now we've got a cutting edge technology. Maybe we haven't implemented. Now we can implement it. We've got the professional. The same happens with the best practices, as for example of the with the belts. Also the benefit because we are generating these international uh, these technologies and implemented these standards, sorry. So when I bring international standards and then I translate it to the country, the companies will be able to compete against foreign companies that will enable me that so I can be more competitive. And moreover, we're also improving people that come from other countries could actually come to Colombian company and I make it so that the people that we are the training Colombia can work in other countries by adopted for these thanks to adopting these international standards. We are training technical people that are actually in line with the international trends and we are improving the innovation, technological development, productivity, and competitivity in the country. These are also other important aspects. And then for the participants, I include when I participate as a person, as a natural person, everybody that has been involved in these processes could actually agree with me that participating in this, it's a life experience. Some partners, colleagues that I have, it's like that. It's like it gets into your blood, in your DNA. It's part in your life experience. It's an experience that enriches you and improves you in every single sense. All participants, whether they're competitors or the experts or we as a delegate, not only talking about the continental competitions, we're talking about any participant, even from the competitions that we do in the country, could bring all these benefits. First, you understand that shape of the culture of excellence. It's important to do things not because you have to do it or just not do it without any quality levels, but do it with the best quality in the less time possible. The culture of excellence is developed in a natural way because you are in a competition, because I want to be the best, I want my product to be the best, I want my service to be the best, that it actually, it's like setting a chip in your head that all those guys that pass through this process and go to the company, they continue with this mindset in making the companies to improve, to be more better every single day. All that participate in these processes, they actually improve their technical process. They can create and strengthen their contact networks. It's very important that all my experts in this model have contact with all the experts of the world. And in any moment, some of them have had some specific behaviors that they're already working with their world peers in order to obtain their help, or they belong with to networks that they have the last news or the last trends. So the contact networks is very important. The collaborative work, so you can develop your soft skills as well. They can actually improve the language and communication. We're not only talking about talking English, but every time that you have a competition in another country, you can learn a lot of the local language. Sometimes we've done the opportunity of going to in Brazil, we found a strengthening, learned Portuguese, for example, or in Russia, Russian, and so forth. So have that enrichment because I know in other cultures, these cultural exchange is wonderful, and that happens not internationally, worldly. So in the national competition happens. I have got lads, I've got people that are from very far distance that they go international, national competition. They learn about the culture of the other people because in one single country you have different cultures as well. And this is a benefit is that this is a great opportunity of a labor mobility. I've got lots. Yeah, I've got I've got lots of experts. They've had opportunities out of the country and they have gone and they're very well placed in other countries working with companies or in education. But the vision that this provides in this competition and all the benefits it generates because of the participating here enables me to have this better mobility, job mobility or labor mobility, contributing that your students, competitors and structures could also broaden their borders, not only in the country, but they can also find better options in the whole world. So that regarding all the main benefits that I found for the participants. I think there are many other things that maybe I didn't put them here, but basically that was in order to respect due to time concerns. That was as I give. So sorry for the timing. This is I had prepared in order to share it with you today regarding the benefits that has the participation in the participation in order to strengthen the professional process and also for the entities, but also for the companies, the countries, and participants. So my name is Yesid Rusek. That's my email, and I make myself available to serve you or answer you whatever questions. And we do have a couple of time minutes for some question that could have arise in the company. Yes, Professor. Yes, Professor Merino. Do you have some questions, please? Yes, most of the questions actually they're asking in order to share those documents you've shown. Absolutely, absolutely. Be my guest, no problem. As I've mentioned from saying, we are ready to share and collaborate with all of you. And the documents that I've showed you were that we can actually share with all the participants here. So the secretary was going to share those documents with all of you. Fantastic. Any further question? No, no, no. So then I would like to share. For me, it was very impacting the result of Colombia in the world competition with a second place in CAD. When we talk about projects and software for project, of course, we've got many countries that got a whole teaching technology. The work Columbia's done has reached great successes, bringing wonderful results. I bring in this example of CAD because, see, we've got Korea in second, in third look, and Colombia in second in the world. So I understand that Colombia, no, we were third. We were bronze. Korea was second. Oh, thank you for the correction. Yeah, but then think, being between the three best of the world in this technology that implies high potential software. It is something that has been structured so that the expert of Colombia have those skills and translate that and teaches that to those students. That's a wonderful task. So I would like to congratulate the Senate or the whole Colombian team, mainly Mr. Yesid and his team that work without rest. So before thanking our Yesid, I would like to inform that on May the 31st, we are going to have Royal Ramirez from INA Costa Rica that's going to talk from development of skills in a time of in a very changing area of lots of transformation. I'm going to talk about the skill model for this area. So here's my invitation. Yes, my deep thanks and in the name of all the participants, a very big number of people. We thank all of you and oh, thank you very much from my side as well. And all your dedication to the professional education in Colombia, and of course, your contribution with all the countries of Americas in your position of the chair, the technical commission, and congratulations for your presentation, because me that been 33 years in this process, I can assure that I've learned also something. So thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and a big hack for all of you guys. Thanks to all of you, and I see you on May the 31st.